Estados Unidos en lo que en aquel tiempo todavía no era Silicon Valley, pero ya estaba. Y su nombre, bueno, él ha sido un protagonista de la innovación tecnológica, en particular en toda la transformación informática y computerística de todas nuestras vidas, siendo el protagonista de invenciones como el microprocesador, hasta sus empresas en años más recientes de la tecnología de touchpad and touchscreen, que nosotros hoy en día todos utilizamos con nuestros computers y nuestros teléfonos. El argumento del cual hablaremos esta noche es un sujeto que hasta hace algunos años estaba relegado a los libros y a las películas de ciencia ficción, que es la inteligencia artificial. En años más recientes se ha empezado a hablar no solo con relación a la ficción, sino también a la vida real. Y en los últimos tiempos han habido avances muy importantes que han abierto fronteras que solo hace pocos meses eran inimaginables. En particular, la difusión de una nueva aplicación que se llama ChatGPT, que hoy en día nos dejan imaginar escenarios que casi están afuera de nuestra imaginación y que ponen a muchos interrogantes. Seguramente, como siempre ha sido, el progreso tecnológico nos va a aportar muchos beneficios, pero la velocidad y la importancia de los cambios que la inteligencia artificial seguramente, no probablemente, seguramente va a aportar en nuestro mundo, en nuestras vidas, en el mundo de la producción, en el mundo de la información, en toda esfera de actividad humana, quizás son demasiado acelerados y todavía no hemos desarrollado una reflexión suficiente sobre el tipo de herramienta y de reglamentación que necesitamos para estar seguros de utilizar esta innovación tecnológica de la manera mejor posible. La inteligencia artificial pone también problemas yo diría, de orden filosófico. ¿Cuál va a ser la relación entre la inteligencia humana y la inteligencia artificial y si se van a poner en competición? Todos estos argumentos que no hacen parte de mi vida, yo soy un absolute beginner, pero Federico Faggin es de verdad su vida. Ya hemos tenido dos conferencias muy exitosas, una en Cancillería con un público selecto de policymakers, de diplomáticos, de expertos, y la otra ayer en el TEC de Monterrey con el embajador Luis Cabañas. Yo no estaba, pero me han dicho que el entusiasmo de los estudiantes ha sido máximo. Entonces yo creo que vamos a tener una conversación muy interesante. Yo seguramente he aprendido muchas cosas. Ya estoy tomando demasiado tiempo. Dejo la palabra a Ramón para que nos explique cómo va a funcionar el conversatorio. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor embajador, y ante todo el agradecimiento siempre de parte de la World Future Society, capítulo mexicano, por todos los eventos que hemos organizado. Hoy, sin duda, muy especial con el doctor Faggin, que nos va a ilustrar en un momento en el que existe una gran confusión. Estamos bombardeados de información confusa que viene de fuentes comerciales antagónicas muchas veces, unos a favor de un sistema, de otro, y que nos hacen ver un futuro distópico con muchos miedos y que nos hacen temer lo que viene. Sin duda debemos tener atención en lo que viene y ponernos a trabajar, pero no debemos de estar espantados. Debemos de entrar, como decimos en México, tomar al toro por los cuernos y entrar a hacer las cosas que aprendemos. Hoy tenemos la oportunidad de tener un referente, el doctor Faggin, un faro de luz que nos va a dar una oportunidad de tener a alguien que ha conocido desde el principio de la tecnología. Solo haciendo un comentario adicional al que decía el embajador de Chiara sobre los inventos que ha hecho el doctor, pensemos que hoy todos los que estamos aquí en nuestras bolsas tenemos derivados de los inventos que hizo el doctor, microprocesadores en nuestras computadoras, en nuestros teléfonos, en nuestras pantallas touchscreen, algo que ya es totalmente normal y aquí tenemos al creador. Es una gran oportunidad. ¿Cómo va a funcionar el evento? Le vamos a dar la palabra al doctor, posteriormente tenemos un comentarista que es el doctor Bill Halal. El doctor Halal es un prospectivista muy conocido, profesor emérito de la Universidad George Washington University, y él está remoto, lo vamos a poner en un momento y nos hará algunos comentarios sobre esto. El doctor Halal es un amigo de hace tiempo en la World Future Society, recientemente tradujimos su libro al español, Beyond Knowledge, el cual está disponible en Amazon. Bueno, sin más entretenernos, a lo que venimos aquí es a oír al doctor Faggin, le damos la palabra. Posteriormente hará comentarios el doctor Halal, después entraremos a una parte de preguntas y respuestas que estoy seguro que habrá muchas, tanto presencial como remoto, trataremos de darles cabida a todas. Doctor, bienvenido.
Gracias, gracias. It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure to be here with you and explore together the nature of human beings as we are compared to artificial intelligence. But before I get there, I need to briefly tell you my story, because my story tells the story that in some ways each one of you need to go through in order to recover the values, the human values that you have, that if we think that we are machines, we're going to be in deep problems. So, you know, I was born in Vicenza.
Nací en Vicenza, en la ciudad de Vicenza. No sé si estoy haciendo algo mal con el micrófono, voy a tratar de ponerme bien.
You know, I was saying that we can build, you know, ChatGPT, but we cannot have sound in the conference that works most of the time. So anyway, I was born in Vicenza, near Venice, in 1941, so I'm an old guy. And I studied in a technical high school. My father, however, was a teacher, a professor of philosophy and history, wrote several books, translated the Aeneas of Plotinus, for example, from original Greek, obviously, and on it goes. So, but I love machines. I wanted to make the best machines possible. So since I was very small, so I did not want to go through a classical lycée like my father studied Greek and Latin. That waste my time. You know, I want to make machines, so I know what I want. And so I went to a technical high school. And at 18, I graduated. The technical high schools are very tough schools, by the way, in Italy. You know, 45 hours. 40 to 45 hours a week of
muy
work,
difíciles en Italia, con
laboratories and
45 horas por
lectures and then
semana, además de tener
homework
que
on
ir al
top of that. So
laboratorio,
it's a
estar en
tough school.
conferencias,
But I
hacer
learned a lot.
tareas,
But toward
etcétera.
the end of the
Son
high
escuelas muy
school,
difíciles,
I
pero aprendí
was
muchísimo.
fascinated
Y al
by
final de
transistors and
la
computers, which were just new
preparatoria
inventions
estaba
that had come out.
fascinado por los
I'm talking about
transistores
the
y las
50s now.
computadoras que
So
apenas
in
estaban
1960, I
construyendo. Eso eran los
graduated and I went
50.
to work for Olivetti
En
near Milan.
1960 recibí mi
Olivetti, many of
licenciatura
you
y
have
fui a
known,
trabajar en
a
Olivetti
company
en
that was
Milán.
in
Seguro
office
muchos de
machines
ustedes
and
lo
computers
conocen,
in those days.
producía
And I was
máquinas
lucky
para
enough
oficina,
that I was, because I
máquinas de
had
escribir
studied
en esa
things on my
época
own
y
and I
computadoras.
was a,
Y tuve mucha
a quick
suerte porque
study,
aprendía
that
yo
at some
rápidamente
point
y me di cuenta en algún
I was
momento
given
que
the job to finish a
me dieron la
computer that has
oportunidad
just started. So I
de
designed
trabajar
the
con computadoras que apenas
60%
estaban
remaining, that was the hardest
desarrollando.
part, the control system of the computer,
Y
and the
lo que se
memory
estaba
and
haciendo
so
en
on.
esa época
And
era la parte de
and
control,
I
o sea, la memoria
built the
de la
computer,
computadora.
about
Entonces
80,
construí
90%
una
of the
computadora,
computer that was had to be built with
80-90% de una
technicians that
computadora
were working
con
for
el
me as a
apoyo de
19-year-old. So in 1
técnicos.
year,
Yo
I
en
built the
ese
computer
momento
with
tenía 19
transistors,
años, entonces en
designed the
un año
circuits, and it worked.
fabriqué una
But then I
computadora
also
con
decided that I
transistores
wanted
y
to
funcionó. Pero luego
know
también me di
more
cuenta
about,
que
about
quería
transistors
aprender más
because
acerca
I
de los
saw that
transistores,
transistors
porque
were
me
the
di cuenta
future.
que los transistores
So
iban
I
a
decided
ser
to go back to
un
school. I
elemento muy
went to
importante en el
study
futuro.
physics at
Entonces
the
regresé
University
a
of
la
Padua.
universidad, fui a estudiar
And after
física en la
4 years,
Universidad de
actually
Padua,
less than 4
y
years,
después de un poquito
people
menos de
don't
4 años,
typically graduate in 4 years.
porque generalmente los estudiantes se reciben en 4
I
años, pero
graduated
yo
with
lo
cum
hice un
laude, and
poquito más
I went
rápido
to work
y fui
for a company in Italy that
estudiante
was
cum
making
laude
transistors
y
in
empecé a
integrated
trabajar
circuits.
con una empresa que estaba
Then I
produciendo
ended up,
circuitos
it would be
integrados
too long the
con
story. So I ended
computadoras.
up in,
Total
7
que
months
es muy
later, I
largo
ended
el
up in
cuento,
Silicon
pero
Valley. So
acabé
now we are in
después de todo esto en
1968,
Silicon Valley, que para entonces era
February 1968.
1968,
And at that time,
febrero
I
de
understood the
1968.
technology of the
Y
future
para
was
ese
the
entonces estaba
MOS
yo
technology.
entendiendo que la
MOS
tecnología del
technology is
futuro
what
iba a ser
eventually became pretty
MOS,
much the only
una
way to make
tecnología que iba a ser
integrated
básicamente la
circuits.
única manera
And I
de construir
developed at
circuitos
Fairchild the
integrados,
first
y
technology
desarrollé la
that
primera
was able to make
tecnología que
reliable
pudo
integrated circuits that were
crear
much
circuitos
faster,
integrados confiables que eran mucho más
denser,
ágiles,
and with better
rápidos y densos,
performance. And
con mejor
so
desempeño.
that technology allowed to make all the
La
missing
tecnología
pieces that you
MOS
needed to make a computer on
y
a
tenía
piece of
todo lo que
silicon,
se
which
necesitaba
is,
para
it
poder
was
crear
a,
una computadora
a
en base a
dream
un
that
pedazo de
that
silicio,
was
que
understood
era
that
un sueño
one day would happen. But that
en ese entonces, y
technology
que sabíamos
allowed to
que
make all
algún
the
día se iba a
pieces.
poder dar,
It was
pero
called MOS
esa
Silicon Gate
tecnología
technology, was the technology
permitió
that
que se fueran
Intel
creando
adopted,
computadoras cada vez más pequeñas y fue adoptado por Intel.
I
Se
ended
conoce
up working
como
for
la
Intel a year
tecnología
later, and
SGG
Intel
o S, y
it
trabajé
had
con
a
Intel.
project that was a custom
Intel
project where
tuvo un
there was a
proyecto en
microprocessor,
donde
in other
tenían
words, a
un
CPU
microprocesador, o sea,
that
una
could be
CPU que
designed
podía ser
if
diseñada
somebody could design
si
it.
alguien
And
supiera cómo
I was the
diseñar
only
la
one that could
CPU.
design it because I was the
Y
one who made the
yo era el
technology that made it
único que
possible.
sabía cómo
So
hacerlo porque
in
yo había inventado la tecnología.
1971,
De manera
Intel
que en
came out with the first
1971 Intel
microprocessor in the
lanzó el
world, the
primer
4004, which I
microprocesador del
designed
mundo, el 4004, que
in
yo
about
diseñé
11 months.
en aproximadamente
Together
11
with the
meses,
other
junto con
pieces, the memory and the I/O,
otros
that
elementos de la
together you
PC,
could put a computer
como la
in
memoria y
in a
todo eso, para que
small
una vez
printed
que se
circuit
armara,
board.
se pudiera
Then
crear una
about
computadora
7
con un
years
pequeño
later,
tablero
all
de
that stuff
circuito.
could be
Y
put
después,
in a single
a los
chip.
7 años,
But the missing
se
pieces
encontró la
were
manera de
all
colocarlo
present
todo en un solo
in
chip
1970,
pequeño.
1971
Pero
because of this
en
MOS
70,
technology that I
71
developed.
ya se había creado la
Then Intel
tecnología necesaria. Yo
did not
había creado esa
recognize the
tecnología de
microprocessor were the future.
MOS-SGG.
So I decided that in order to push
Conforme pasaban los años,
the
que era
market, push
importante
the
ir
adoption of the
impulsando un poco más al
microprocessor,
mercado,
I
ir
decided to start my own
fomentando la
company,
adopción de ese tipo de
And
microprocesador.
so I changed
Establecí
completely
una empresa, Zilog,
how to say,
que
my
cambió por
capacity, because,
completo mi
one thing is
capacidad,
to
porque es una
make a
cosa
project,
el
which
participar
is
en un
technical, and
proyecto
one thing is to start a
técnico,
company
pero es
and
totalmente
run a
diferente
company.
crear su
That
propia
takes
empresa.
a lot more
Se
skills
requiere de
and
muchas más
knowledge
habilidades y
than what I
muchos
had
más
at that time.
conocimientos de lo que
But hey,
de los
I'm
que
going to
yo
do it.
contaba en
And
esa
so,
época. Pero bueno, yo dije,
so
voy a hacerlo, voy a
and I
crear mi
had,
propia
by
empresa.
the way,
Por cierto que
I got a lot of gray hairs in the first
me
3
sacaron
years,
muchas
I'll
canas
tell you,
esos
because
primeros 3
our
años de
first
haber creado
product
esa
was the
empresa, porque
Z80
nuestro
microprocessor that
primer
some of you
producto,
may have used
un
actually,
procesadora
is a product
Z80
that was
a lo
a
mejor
third generation
que quizá algunos de
microprocessor, and
ustedes
is still
conocen,
in
es un
production today,
producto que
46 years
sigue en
later,
producción
after being
hoy en día,
built, introduced in
46 años después de haberlo
1976.
creado en 1976.
So in 1976, we were
Bueno, en
11 people,
1976
and that
éramos 11 personas.
3 years later, we were
3 años
1,100 people
más tarde
at
ya éramos
Xylo, because Xylo
100
took off and
personas
was growing so
en la
fast.
empresa
And
Xylo,
that's when I
porque
said
estábamos creciendo tan
my hair
rápidamente.
started to
Y
turn
por eso
gray
empecé
at
a
that
tener
point.
muchas canas
I
hasta
had
llegar
to
a este
learn,
punto.
all the pieces, right?
Tuve que ir aprendiendo de todo.
Not just product design, but
No
also
solamente cómo
production,
diseñar un producto, sino cómo hacer la
also
producción,
selling,
la
marketing,
manufactura, cómo hacer la
administration,
venta,
you
la
name it, right?
mercadotecnia, la parte administrativa,
But that
todo lo tuve que ir
allowed me
aprendiendo.
to
Pero eso me
learn
permitió
aspects of myself
aprender acerca
that
de
I
mí
had not
mismo
explored when I was
muchas
just an
cosas que no
engineer,
había
an
explorado
inventor, and doing
cuando
those
nada
things
más
that
era
I was doing.
ingeniero o inventor
Also
y
leading
me
small
dedicaba nada más
groups
a
of
eso,
technical people,
porque nada más
because
me encargaba de pequeños grupos de técnicos.
At Intel, before leaving to start my own
Porque
company, I had
antes
80
de
people
crear mi
working for
propia
me, about
empresa,
60 were
yo
engineers.
tenía
So it was a
muchas personas
pretty
bajo mi mando,
good
pero eran
sized group,
ingenieros.
but they were all
Era un
like
grupo
me.
bastante grande, pero
They were
eran
not,
igual que yo.
they were
¿No?
not
O sea, no eran
administrators and
administradores, no eran
personnel
gerentes,
people
no
and
eran
all that.
personas que sabían de
So
recursos humanos ni
anyway,
nada.
so
Bueno,
after that experience,
después de esa
I became a serial entrepreneur. My
me
third
convertí
company
en un
was
emprendedor
Synaptics.
serial.
Synaptics started in
Después creé otra
1986.
empresa que se llama
And at that
Synaptics
time,
en
the neural
1986.
networks,
Y en esa época,
which
las
we
redes
will
neurales,
encounter later,
que
but the
posteriormente iban a
artificial
ser
neural
más
networks were
importantes,
beginning to be
eran
used and be
redes
considered as a
neuronales
potential
artificiales
solution
que
to
se
the
estaban
problems of
considerando
artificial
como
intelligence
posibles
that were in the
soluciones a la
marketplace.
inteligencia artificial. Ya estaban
Problems
disponibles en
of
el
like
mercado.
recognition of objects,
Eran
recognition of faces,
cuestiones como
recognition of
reconocimiento de
handwriting.
rostros, de
Those are the
objetos,
problems that
de
could not be solved with traditional
ortografía,
methods.
de
And
escritura,
the people that
sistemas
knew artificial
que no se
intelligence
conocían anteriormente.
insisted that the only solution
Había
was
muchas personas que
by
pensaban que la única solución
thinking
a los problemas
through what we do in
se
our mind
encontraría
to,
solamente
for
si
example, recognize a face or
pensábamos
recognize an apple.
en qué se tenía
But
que
that
usar
idea
para poder
never
reconocer un
worked.
rostro o una
And in
manzana.
fact,
Pero
the
esa
only
idea
idea that
realmente
eventually
nunca
worked was
despegó.
neural networks.
Y lo único que sí
Artificial
funcionó
neural
fueron
networks,
las
which
redes
are
artificiales
sort of a
neuronales, que
copy
son
of
como
what we
una
have in our
copia de lo que
heads. In our
tenemos en
heads, we
nuestro
have
cerebro, en nuestra
biological
cabeza.
neural networks,
En nuestras
which are
cabezas
made with
tenemos estas
neurons, and
redes
neurons have
neurales
synapses, and the synapses,
biológicas con
a
neuronas,
neuron typically have 1,000 to
sinapsis,
10,000 synapses,
con
and
10,000
basically
a
they
20,000
perform a very
sinapsis,
simple
y
function, but
básicamente
the
realizan una
collective of these
función muy
simple
sencilla,
functions allows to
porque nos
recognize
permiten
patterns.
reconocer
It would take too long to explain how it does
me
it,
tardaría demasiado
but the
tiempo
point
en
is that
explicarles de cómo lo hacen, pero el caso es que
idea
esa
became
idea
so powerful in
se
those
convirtió en
days,
algo tan
and yet
potente en
the
esos días,
community of
sin
AI
embargo,
did
la
not recognize
comunidad
that it was
de
possible.
IA,
They basically
inteligencia
ignore
artificial,
it.
no
And
lo reconocían como algo importante, lo ignoraban.
at that company, we actually together
En esa
were
empresa
able to
pudimos
develop
de manera
neural
conjunta
networks,
desarrollar
emulation
redes
of neural
neurales
networks
o
using
emulaciones
analog
de
technology,
redes
which allowed us
neurales
to
usando
actually
una
make integrated
tecnología
circuits with
que nos
neural networks
permitiera
in them
hacer circuitos
that
integrados
use analog
que pudieran
technology.
usar
So
tecnología análoga
improve that actually it would work, but
y
we could
comprobar con
not
eso que podían funcionar, pero
build
no podíamos crear
chips
los
that
chips
mixing 3 or 4 types of them, we could solve
ni
all the
mezclar
problems. So we
varios
would
tipos
have
de
to
chips
have
para resolver
custom
todos los
solutions
problemas.
for
O sea, teníamos que
for
ofrecer
every problem in
soluciones
the market.
personalizadas
And
para
that was
cada
impossible.
problema,
So we
cada problema
decided
en el
that we had
mercado,
to
lo
do
cual era
something
imposible,
else.
entonces
At
decidimos
that
que
point,
tendríamos
and
que
we
hacer
used
otra
some of
cosa
the technology
y
that we had
usamos
developed
algunas de las tecnologías que ya
to make
habíamos
the
desarrollado
touchpad and the touch
para
screens that you
hacer
have,
los
that you
touchpads y
use
los
regularly
touchscreens que
now
ustedes
in
ya
your
usan, las pantallas
laptops and
táctiles que ustedes
iPhones.
usan hoy en día en sus computadoras y
we
en sus
went into a
celulares.
different direction.
Entonces
But at that
tomamos un
time, I
rumbo
was
distinto.
studying, and of course, I
En ese momento de mi
believed that
vida,
neural networks
yo
were the
creía que
future,
las redes
and I was
neurales
studying
iban a ser el futuro.
neuroscience, was
Había
studying
estudiado
biology, because I
neurociencia
wanted to
y
understand
biología
how the
para
brain
poder tener
works
una mejor
in
comprensión de
more,
cómo funciona
in order to
el
make
cerebro,
better
para así además
analog
crear mejores
emulations of these
emulaciones
devices.
análogas
And
de
it was at
esos
that time that I asked
de
myself,
esos sistemas.
but
Y en esa época me
wait, these
pregunté,
books are talking about
no
signals in the
entiendo,
brain.
los
You
libros
know,
hablan
if
acerca de
I
señales en el
taste
cerebro,
put chocolate in my mouth,
pero si yo
you know, they
coloco
describe
una
that
pieza de
chocolate
chocolate en mi
dissolves in my
lengua,
mouth, and
me
some of the
pueden decir que
molecules ends
el
up
chocolate se disuelve en
in
mi
this
lengua, en mi
in
boca,
these cells
y
that
que el
you know
chocolate llega a las células, que
receptors
tienen
that
receptores
can tell the
que
shape of these
pueden
molecules, and they
detectar la
generate
forma de las
signals
moléculas y
according to the
generan
shapes of the
señales
molecules,
dependiendo de
and
la
those
forma
electrical
de las
signals go into
moléculas, y
the
estas
brain,
señales eléctricas
and
suben a
the
mi
neural
cerebro,
networks of the
y
brain
las redes neurales del
recognizes the
cerebro
chocolate that I have
reconocen
in
que
my
se trata
mouth.
de un chocolate
But
que
I
tengo en mi
recognize the
boca.
chocolate because
Pero yo reconozco un chocolate
it
porque
tastes something. So
me
you see,
sabe a algo.
the sensation
O
in my
sea,
mouth,
la
how
sensación
can the
en mi
sensation
boca.
come from electrical
¿Cómo puede
signals?
venir esa sensación
What is
en mi
it
boca
that
de una señal
transformed
eléctrica?
the
¿Cómo
electrical
es que
signals
se convierten
in
esas señales eléctricas
sensations
en
and feelings?
sensaciones, en
And so
sentimientos?
I discovered at that time that what later
Descubrí
a
lo que
philosopher
posteriormente el
that
filósofo
coined this terminology called the hard problem of
llamó
consciousness, which is
el
how can
problema
you
difícil
go
de la
from
conciencia,
electrical
es decir,
signals or
cómo podemos
biochemical
pasar de
signals
señales
into
bioquímicas o
sensations and
eléctricas
feelings,
a
because we
sensaciones y
know,
sentimientos.
because we feel.
Porque
We
sabemos,
know,
porque sentimos, ¿verdad?
the
Sabemos.
most important feeling perhaps is the
Quizá
feeling of love that we
el
feel.
sentimiento
When
más
we
fuerte del
feel
mundo es el
love, how
sentimiento
can
del amor,
you,
porque lo
you know,
sentimos.
what does the
Entonces,
feeling of love have to do with the signals in the brain?
¿qué tiene que ver ese sentimiento
And
o ese
so
amor con el
that
cerebro? Uno
problem
se
has never
podría
been
preguntar. Ese
resolved.
es un problema
And
que jamás se ha
science
resuelto.
at that time and even today
En
is
la
telling
ciencia,
us
incluso
that
hoy en día no
consciousness
sabemos
is
qué
really
sucede.
an emergent
Incluso hoy en
phenomenon of
día
the workings of the
sabemos que
brain,
la
but
conciencia
they
es
cannot
un
explain how
fenómeno que
anything like that
emerge
can
del cerebro,
emerge.
pero
So
no
it's
entendemos
basically
cómo lo hace.
saying,
O
believe
sea,
us, we
básicamente
in the
nos
future we
dicen,
can be, we can explain
créanos,
how that
es
works.
así, y en algún momento en el
But we
futuro
don't
les
have that
explicaremos
time
cómo
today
funciona.
with AI.
Pero
We don't
hoy en
have
día,
time to wait for
debido a
scientists to
inteligencia
explain
artificial, no podemos esperar a que
why
la
we
ciencia nos
feel
explique por qué sentimos
when they're building, and we are
las cosas.
building machines
Porque
that
ya
are so good
estamos
at
creando
imitating
máquinas
us
que son tan buenos en
that
imitarnos
we can get in trouble
que podemos
before we have an
acabar en
explanation.
grandes
And I
problemas
recognize that problem back in
sin
the
primero tener
80s.
una
And
explicación.
so
Y
at
yo me
that
di
time
cuenta
also
del problema en el que nos íbamos
I
a
was not
meter en los
happy
80s.
myself,
En ese
and
momento también me di
happiness
cuenta que
has to
no
do something with
estaba
consciousness,
feliz.
right? Not with
La
electrical signals.
felicidad tiene algo que ver con la conciencia, ¿verdad? No con
At that
señales
time,
eléctricas.
I had an experience that opened up
Tuve una
myself
experiencia
to
que me
understand
abrió
that consciousness
para que
had
pudiera
to
yo
be much
entender que
more
la
than
conciencia
what I thought.
era mucho más
And
de
it
lo que
was
yo había
through
pensado.
this
Y
experience
fue
that
debido
I
a esa
decided that I
experiencia
want
que
to
tuve
study
que
consciousness. I
decidí
want to
que quería
understand it, and the
estudiar
only
la
way to
conciencia, quería
understand it
entender la
is to
conciencia.
actually
La única
experience,
manera de
because
hacerlo
we know by
era a
experiencing.
través de la
You cannot,
experiencia, porque nosotros
if I read
sabemos
a
a través de
book,
la experiencia.
I
O sea,
don't
si
necessarily
leo un libro,
understand.
no
If I understand what I read in the
entiendo
book, it's
las
only
cosas.
because I
Y si lo
already have an
entiendo es solamente
experience similar to what
porque
is
ya
written
tuve
in the
una
book.
experiencia similar a lo que
So
aparece
there
en
is
el libro.
something about consciousness
Entonces hay algo en
which
la conciencia
allows us to know
que
from
nos
the
permite
inside,
saber
as if
desde
we have
adentro,
something within
como
ourselves
si hubiera
that
algo
allows
adentro de
us to
nosotros que nos permite
get the meaning of information.
entender
But
el
now,
significado de
here
la
we have a
información.
problem, because
Y
in
aquí está el
computers,
problema,
there
porque
is no
en las
meaning.
computadoras
The
no
information
hay
which is
significado.
defined by
La
science,
información que es definida
both
por
in
la
information
ciencia,
theory or in
tanto en la
physics,
teoría de la
is
información
very
o en la
simple. It's
física,
the
es muy sencilla.
probability
Se
of an
refiere a la
event
probabilidad
happening.
de que se dé un evento.
That's what information is,
Eso es lo que
according
es la
to
información,
physics.
o sea, de acuerdo con la física.
So what does that have to do with meaning?
Pero
For
eso que
us,
tiene que ver con el
information without
significado.
meaning
Para nosotros la
means
información sin
nothing.
significado no hace sentido.
Yet,
Y sin embargo,
we find that
hemos
ChatGPT,
visto
which is
que
the latest
ChatGPT,
gadget,
que es el
the latest software,
último juego,
can
que es un software,
can do something which
puede hacer
surprise us.
muchas
So
cosas que nos
what's going on
sorprenden.
here?
Por eso hay que preguntarnos, ¿qué está sucediendo?
This takes me to then 20 years of effort in understanding consciousness,
Durante los últimos
doing
20 años he
all
hecho un
kinds of
esfuerzo por entender la
work,
conciencia, realizando
meditations,
todo
you
tipo
name it,
de
anything that makes sense,
tareas,
I
desde
did.
meditación
But I
hasta
don't
todo
take
tipo de
drugs, by the way,
investigación.
so, because
Salvo tomar
some people that
drogas, por cierto.
claim
Porque
that if
hay
you take
muchas
drugs, you
personas que
can
dicen que uno puede
explore
tomar
the appearance
alguna
of
droga
consciousness,
y
but then can you
experimentar la
trust
conciencia.
what your brain
Pero
does if
realmente
you
podemos confiar en
drug
el
your brain,
cerebro si
and
está
so
bajo la influencia de las
everything
drogas.
that happened to me was spontaneous and
No puedo saber si todo lo que
surprising
me
most of the
sucedió
time, meaning
fue
that
espontáneo,
I was
bajo
not,
la influencia de drogas.
I was so intense in understanding
Y
that
yo, cuando me pasó esta experiencia,
I got
fue tan intensa
many times answers
que
because I wanted to know.
me di cuenta que
And
quería formular
out of
preguntas y
this
tener
came
respuestas
the
a las
theory
preguntas.
on consciousness that I will tell you in a second.
Después de
which
todo esto, desarrollé
started
una
with these
teoría
20
de la
years of
conciencia
work.
que les voy a explicar en un
After
momento,
20
pero se
years,
trata de
it
un
was
esfuerzo que he
clear
hecho
to me that
durante los últimos
consciousness
20
could
años, porque ya
not be, had to
sé
be
que
fundamental,
la
had to be a
conciencia es
property
algo
of nature
fundamental, que es
before
una
matter.
propiedad de la naturaleza y es
Science is
más
telling
importante
us
que la,
that
que la
matter
materia.
generates
La ciencia
consciousness
nos dice
after
que
you had
la
a brain, so
materia genera conciencia
30.8 billion
si uno
years
tiene un
later,
cerebro.
you go from
Y 3
matter to
millones de
brains
años
that
más tarde
actually
pasamos de
can allow
materia
us to
a cerebros
understand.
que nos ayudan
But
a
they
entender.
cannot tell us how
Pero
the
no nos
matter,
dicen
which is
cómo es que esa
unconscious,
materia
can
que es
create
inconsciente
consciousness.
puede crear
So,
conciencia.
and after having all these experiences and
Después de
understanding what
todas estas
consciousness does,
experiencias
it
que
was very
tuve y
clear
esta comprensión
that
que tuve de
the
lo que es la
only
conciencia, me
way
di cuenta que la
to
única manera
explain
de
consciousness
explicar
was
la
to say,
conciencia
hey,
era
the
diciendo
capacity to learn, the capacity
la
to know
capacidad de
has to
aprender
be
y
fundamental.
saber
There
tiene que
is
ser
nothing simpler
fundamental.
because
No hay nada
that's
más
what we were
sencillo
trying
que
to do.
eso,
We're trying to
porque es lo que
know.
estábamos tratando de
And
hacer. Estábamos
consciousness is the
tratando
way we
de
know.
saber.
So
Y la
consciousness has
conciencia
to
es la
be
manera en que
the
sabemos.
foundation of
Entonces la
reality.
conciencia tiene que ser el
In other words,
cimiento de la
consciousness
realidad. Es
cannot be
decir, la conciencia
defined
no
or
puede ser
explained with
definida ni
anything
explicada
simpler than
con
itself.
nada que sea más sencillo
But
que la
then we have to
conciencia.
explain what matter is.
Pero
If we
para ese
start
caso
with
también tenemos que
consciousness as
explicar qué es materia.
fundamental,
Si
then we
la
have to explain
conciencia
why
es
matter
fundamental, también tenemos que
comes and how
explicar
matter comes
qué es la
from
materia y
consciousness.
cómo
And this is what
surge la materia de
we
la
can tell you
conciencia.
now.
Y eso es lo que hemos
Where
estado haciendo.
science that starts with matter,
La
they
ciencia
cannot tell
trabaja
you
con la materia,
why you start with matter.
pero
But you
no nos
start with
dicen
matter,
por qué
but they
empezamos con la
cannot
materia.
explain
O sea, nos dicen
how
empezar con la
consciousness
materia,
can
pero
come from
no
matter
nos
that
explican
is
cómo la
not conscious.
conciencia puede
So we
surgir de
can
la materia que
explain
no es
matter coming out of
consciente.
consciousness.
O
If
sea,
we start
podemos
with
explicar que la
consciousness,
materia sale
because
de la conciencia,
information in
pero
this conception
significa que la información en
has both
esta concepción
meaning
tiene
and
significado
symbol.
y
Meaning
símbolos.
and symbol.
O sea, significado y
When I'm
símbolos.
speaking to you, I have meaning
Cuando
within
yo
myself
hablo con
that I
ustedes,
translate in
tengo un
symbols
significado
that
dentro de mí
are
y se están
shareable. The symbols are my words.
convirtiendo en símbolos que puedo
The
compartir.
words are
Los
classical
símbolos
symbols
son
like the bits of the computer,
como los
and
bits
they
de
can be
una
copied.
computadora que se pueden copiar.
But my experience is
Pero mi
private.
experiencia
I'm the
es
only
privada.
one that I
Yo
can know
soy
what
la
I
única
feel.
persona que puedo saber
And I
lo que yo
cannot
siento.
translate it. I
Y no
cannot
puedo traducir,
transport what
no
I
puedo
feel so that you
transportar lo que
feel the
yo
same
siento
thing
para
that
que
I
tú
feel.
sientas lo
The
mismo que
same
yo.
is for you. You
Y lo
cannot.
mismo te
I
sucede a
don't
ti.
know what you feel.
Yo no sé lo que estás
I
sintiendo
can
tú.
only know what you tell
Yo
me
solamente
about
puedo saber
your
lo que
feelings,
tú
but
me
not
dices acerca de
what you
tus
feel.
sentimientos, pero no puedo saber lo que tú
And so,
sientes.
what is there in physics that actually
¿Qué
has those
hay en la
properties?
física que tiene esas
And it
propiedades?
is quantum information.
La información cuántica.
Quantum
La
information
información
has the
cuántica
property
tiene la propiedad
that it
de
cannot be
que
cloned,
no
it
puede ser
cannot be
clonada,
copied,
no
it
puede ser
cannot be
copiada,
known, it
no
cannot
puede
be
ser
reproduced.
conocida, no puede ser
And
reproducida.
nobody knows
Y
why such
nadie
a
sabe
beast
por qué
exists.
existe tal
We
vez.
also know that quantum
También sabemos
physics
que la
is
física
the more
cuántica
fundamental
es
physics
la
out
física
of which
más
classical
fundamental de
physics
la cual
emerges
surge
as a
la
reduction,
física
as
clásica
a
como una reducción,
short
como
form
una forma
of a
abreviada
vaster reality.
de una realidad más
And the
vasta.
reason is simple
Y
because
la razón
quantum
es sencilla, porque la
information
información cuántica
uses quantum bits.
utiliza bits
And quantum
cuánticos y los
bits
bits
are the
cuánticos
extension
son
of the
la
classical
extensión
bit
del
to
bit
the
clásico
world of quantum physics. And you can imagine them as points on the surface of a sphere. Every point of the surface of a sphere is a state of the quantum bit. So now, the quantum bit you can imagine as a direction in space. Any direction in space is one of the states of this quantum bit. But when you measure a quantum bit, you only find that you measure it. The measurement tells you it is in this direction or in the opposite direction in which you make the measurement. Because to make the measurement, you have to choose the direction in which you're going to make the measurement. The direction in space, which is in this case is a magnetic field of the instrument. So when you choose the direction, no matter which direction you look, you always find that what you measure is in this direction or in the opposite direction. But the qubit is in one particular direction, is that particular state, is called a pure state. So how, when you make a measurement, instead of knowing two real numbers which will define the direction, you can only know 1 or 0. That's the property of classical information, which is 1 or 0, is bits. Where the properties of quantum information is an infinity of states that reduce to a finite number of states when you make the measurement. So here we have exactly the copy in a way of what we do. We do all the time. What I feel within can be represented by a pure quantum state, which is a huge number of quantum bits that are also entangled together. And I don't want to tell you what entanglement is because I already think that your brain is probably boiling now. But unfortunately, quantum physics is what it is, and quantum physics works and they explain all kinds of things. So, but basically, the entanglement means that when, for example, two quantum bits interact, they create some states that are in common that can only, in order to express them, you have to use a space that is more than the 3 dimensions that you use to express one qubit. In fact, when you have two qubits that interact, you need 15 dimensions to express these common states that are connected. So you can see immediately that you have the quantum information has properties that are way, way beyond. There are connections within quantum bits that go way beyond what can happen in classical bits, what computers can do. So, my state then can be represented with quantum information, my conscious state, my meaning, the meaning that I have within myself. And when I express it, I have to express it with classical bits, which means that I can only express a small portion of what I feel. And you know that, suppose if you ask me to express the love that I feel for one of my sons, I say a few words, but those few words can only express a tiny bit of what I feel. So that's the difference between quantum information and classical information. Classical information is what is shareable. Quantum information is not shareable. And the theory is a simple thing, just like the process that I made with MOS Silicon Gate technology was figuring out the geometry, a new geometry to make this thing work. And this thing is simply saying, look, the fact that you have quantum information which is unknowable from the outside, no matter what you do, means that is pointing the finger to something which can be known from the inside by the system which is in that state. So we're saying consciousness is the fact that a quantum system in a pure state knows its own state, has the experience of its own state from the inside. When you say that, you have changed completely the understanding of what quantum physics is saying. All of a
razón de
sudden,
lo que dice
we're
la física
saying
cuántica.
that there is
Ahora estamos
interiority in the
diciendo que hay
universe.
interioridad
That
en
quantum
el
physics
universo
is
y
not
que la física
describing the
cuántica
outer
no está
world, they
describiendo el
describe an
mundo
inner
externo, está
world
describiendo más bien el
out of
mundo
which
interno, del
comes
cual
the classical world, which is the world
surge
of
el mundo
objects that move
clásico,
in
que es el mundo
space-time that we
de
think are
objetos
the
que se
real
mueven en el
objects in the world.
espacio-tiempo y que
So all
creemos
of
que
a
son
sudden you
la
have
realidad del
a
mundo.
complete new
Entonces,
understanding
ahora ya
of
tenemos una
where we
comprensión
are. Now, what we
completamente
are,
nueva de
we
dónde
are
estamos y qué
quantum
somos.
systems that
Somos sistemas
control
cuánticos
a
que controlan
body
un
which is
cuerpo
a classical and
que es
quantum system,
un sistema
like a
clásico y cuántico,
drone, like a
como un
machine.
dron, como una máquina.
But this machine is controlled
Pero
by
esta
a
máquina es
quantum
controlado
system
por un
which can
sistema
only be known
cuántico
from the inside.
que
You
solamente
cannot
se
describe
puede,
it any more than
puede
you
ser
can
conocida
describe
desde
quantum
adentro.
physics, quantum
No se puede
information.
describir al igual que
It
no
can
se
only
puede
be known
describir la
from the
información
inside.
cuántica. Es algo que solamente se puede
So
conocer o saber
this
desde adentro.
completely changes the
Esto
understanding of
cambia
who
por
we are.
completo
We
nuestra
are,
comprensión
you
de
know,
quiénes
we
somos.
think that we are the body, because
Nosotros pensamos que somos
you know,
nuestro
when we are
cuerpo.
born,
Cuando
we can
nacemos,
distinguish
podemos
what we can
distinguir
control from what we
lo que
cannot
podemos
control, and
controlar de
all of a
lo que no
sudden we
podemos controlar
identify ourselves with what we can
y
control.
nos
But
identificamos
we
con lo que
actually
podemos
are a
controlar,
field.
pero en
We are a
realidad somos
field.
un campo. Somos
Who
un
we
campo.
are. That controls a structure within that
Controlamos
field,
una
which is our body.
estructura dentro de
And that
ese
body
campo,
then
que es
can
nuestro cuerpo,
communicate with
y
other
ese
bodies
cuerpo se
using
puede comunicar con
shareable
otros
information,
cuerpos
which is the words that
usando
we use, the
información
gestures that we
compartible,
make, and so
como
on.
las palabras que usamos y los gestos que
And
hacemos.
now, if you start thinking in these terms,
Si
then you
empezamos a
can
pensar en esos
see
términos,
the role
podremos
that we
ver
have to
el
play with
papel que
artificial
tenemos que
intelligence, because artificial intelligence, they are
tener en el
classical
caso de la
computers.
inteligencia
Those classical
artificial, porque
computers
son
cannot be
computadoras
conscious,
clásicas que no
because
pueden tener
they are
conciencia,
simply
porque son
combinations of bits. They
simplemente
don't have
combinaciones de
entanglement,
bits, no
and they
tienen,
don't have the properties of
estos
quantum bits.
enredos,
So they
entanglements
cannot,
que yo les dije, no, y
a
tampoco tienen
classical
las
computer
propiedades de
cannot be
la
conscious. You
física
have to have a
cuántica. Entonces
quantum
no puede
systems
tener
of
conciencia.
a special
Necesitamos
kind, by the
tener
way. In
sistemas
other words, the
cuánticos
quantum
especiales,
system
por
has to
cierto.
be
Es decir,
able
el
to
sistema cuántico
know
tiene que tener
when
la
it
capacidad de
observes
saber
itself
cuando se observa a sí
that the
mismo
experience that it
que
is
la
having is
experiencia
its own
que está
experience.
teniendo en
And
ese
that
momento es
defines
su propia
what in
experiencia.
psychology is
Y
called
eso
identity.
se define
The
como
identity is the
identidad en la
fact that I know
psicología.
that what I'm
La
experiencing is my
identidad
experience, and
significa que sé
therefore
que lo que
I
estoy
can
experimentando
control my
es mi
experience
experiencia y por lo
by
tanto
making
puedo controlar mi
decisions of what I
experiencia
look
al tomar
and
decisiones
how and
acerca
what
de cómo me veo
information
y
or
qué
feelings that I have
tipo de
within myself
información
I
o sentimientos
translate into
tengo
symbols.
dentro de mí, puedo
And those
traducir en
transformations
símbolos.
have to be
Y esa
free will
transformación tiene
transformations,
que ser una
not
transformación de
algorithmic
libre
transformations.
albedrío, no
And
algorítmicas.
quantum physics is
Y la
also telling
física
us
cuántica
that
también
this is
nos indica
possible.
que
They are
esto
called
es posible.
atomic
Se
transformation,
conocen
technical
como
words, but
transformaciones
they are,
atómicas, que son palabras técnicas, pero
they are transformations
son
that are
transformaciones
irreversible
que
as
son
opposed to the unitary
irreversibles
transformation,
comparado
which are
con las
reversible,
transformaciones
that
unitarias que
allow
sí
you
son
to have a
reversibles y que les
transformation from quantum
permiten tener
information to
una
classical
transformación de
information,
información
and
cuántica
from
a
classical
clásica y
information
de
to quantum
clásica a
information,
cuántica.
and therefore
Y por lo
you have a
tanto,
way that
tienes
who I am, which is a
una
field, can
manera que
communicate with a
UIM, que es
body,
un
which is a
campo que puede
quantum and
comunicar con
classical
un cuerpo
structure,
que tiene
and
una estructura
therefore,
clásica.
if once we wake up to the fact that we are more than our
Una
body,
vez que estamos
we
conscientes
can
que somos
see
más que solamente
that
nuestro cuerpo,
the
podemos ver
values that we have
que los
are
valores que
all
tenemos
within that
están
field. They're
todos
not in the body.
dentro
They're
del
not in the
campo,
brain.
no en
The
nuestro
brain is
cerebro,
simply a
no en nuestro
structure
cuerpo. El
that
cerebro
we
es simplemente
control.
una estructura
But
que
if we think
nosotros
that we are the
controlamos.
brain,
Pero
if
si
we think that
nosotros
we are the
creemos
body,
que somos
well,
el
then
cuerpo
we
o
are
el
stuck
cerebro,
in that kind of
estaremos
belief system,
atorados en ese
and
tipo
we
de
will
sistema
behave
de
as,
creencias
as we believe,
y
because,
vamos a
and you know that.
conducirnos como
So I stop
creemos.
here because hopefully I have created
Con eso
enough
concluyo mis comentarios porque espero que
enough
ya les haya dado
ideas here that you want to explore. But
suficientes ideas que estén interesados en
unless you
explorar.
reframe the idea of who you are,
Pero si no
there is no
cambiamos la manera
escaping
en
of
que
being
nos vemos a
controlled
nosotros
by not by
nosotros mismos,
AI, by the
vamos
people
a
that
acabar
make
siendo
AI.
controlados no por la
They're going to
IA,
use
sino por las
AI to
personas
control
que
you.
desarrollan la
That's
IA
the
y que van a
only
usar
way
la
that we
inteligencia
can
artificial
use
para
also AI
controlarnos a nosotros.
effectively is if we
La
move
única manera de usar
above
la
AI
inteligencia
and we
artificial
understand what AI
eficaz es
does
ser
and we use it
más
properly. And
desarrollados que la
that can
inteligencia
only
artificial, que lo
happen
entendamos y que
if
lo usamos
we
correctamente. Y esto
change
solamente
the
puede
sense
suceder
and
si
the
cambiamos
understanding of who we are. If we don't do that, we are in trouble.
somos nosotros.
I stop here.
Si no lo hacemos, vamos a estar en graves problemas. Con eso me detengo.
Muchas gracias, doctor Federico Faggin. Vamos a pasar ahora, si estamos listos, a la presentación, comentario del doctor Bill Halal desde George Washington University.
I'm sorry, we're having some technical difficulties back here.
Are you ready for me now?
We are ready for you.
Okay. So it's my platform, is that right? You want me to speak now? Do you hear me, Ramon? Ramon, do you hear me? I think we have a sound problem. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
Bill?
I don't think you can hear me. I don't hear any response. I'm wondering if you're hearing me. Can we get some attention to this problem, please? You can hear me? Is that right? Okay, good. Good. I will start then. Buenas noches. I was fascinated to hear the presentation from Federico Faggin because I thought it was just brilliant. The way he covered his career from being the man who built the first chip, which is amazing in itself, to inventing neural networks, then finally studying consciousness. And I understand and I agree with everything you said about consciousness. I think that's extremely crucial. That is the key issue that's involved here if we want to understand AI. Now, I want to approach it from a little different perspective. I want to accept consciousness for what it is, and I'll show you what I mean by consciousness. And I want to think of in terms of objective consciousness and subjective consciousness. Those are two terms that are well recognized in the scientific world. And I want to show you that AI is in fact automating the objective consciousness, the objective functions that we associate with computers. And that is driving attention into the subjective realm, which is higher consciousness. That is, I think, the heart of what's happening today. I don't think you can understand the world today without seeing the rise of subjective consciousness, higher consciousness. We are living beyond knowledge now, and we've entered an age of consciousness. And I want to show how this answers three of the big questions in artificial intelligence. It shows that we're not going to have mass unemployment, that the jobs will become more sophisticated, more human-like. It also suggests the way we're going to control AI. We're going to focus on the higher order functions that dominate the objective functions that computers are good at. And finally, I want to say a little bit about what this means, that we're entering an age of consciousness. Okay, if you can let me share my screen now. I have one slide I want to show you. Aren't I sure? I don't seem able to share my screen. What am I doing wrong here? I'm sorry, I can't find my share screen button. Why is that? Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Now this is this graph draws on the work in my latest book, Beyond Knowledge. And I want to acknowledge the Spanish edition of Beyond Knowledge that was produced by Julio Milan and Ramon and Sonia, which is available now. I hope you know that. And this draws on that book, and it describes why consciousness is emerging now. It is being driven by the digital revolution. Here's on the left, the distinction between objective and subjective forms of consciousness that I mentioned. The objective stuff is what computers are good at, what Federico described as the classical domain, awareness, getting data, perceiving things, memory, learning, knowledge, decisions. That's those are the objective functions. That's what computers are good at. And that is what's being automated by AI. Right now, you can see it in social media. Social media is beginning that. AI is going to make it more profound. And as the objective functions are going to be done by the machines, and that's going to drive human attention into the subjective realm, up the hierarchy of consciousness. Emotions, purpose, will, choice, beliefs, values. Those are the things that dominate life today. We're living beyond knowledge now. We're living in that sphere. That's why life is so crazy. That's why we see so much post-factual behavior, like the crazy belief in the United States that the 2020 election was stolen. That kind of thing. That's why we're seeing that, because we're living in the subjective realm. This is, I think, crucial to understand this. The digital revolution is driving the emergence of higher consciousness now. People have always talked about consciousness. It's been a very important topic, but they've always thought it would happen in some distant future. It's happening now, and it's being driven by technology. That's what's different today. Now, here's what this means, I think, about these 3 points of AI that I mentioned earlier. I think it means that, yes, a computer is going to automate the routine work, the objective work, but there's a whole world of work beyond the objective functions. All the stuff that humans do, the creativity, the cooperation, the working together with other people. There's no fixed amount of work. The amount of work is infinite. It always expands when we enter new frontiers. And right now we're entering new frontiers, a different world, a world that has to solve problems of climate change and energy and inequality and conflict. All of those enormous problems are not going to be solved by machines. They're going to be solved by people doing different types of jobs, or more of the higher order jobs than we do now. So there may be some unemployment, but I don't think it's going to be mass unemployment. I think, in effect, AI will make us more human, and we will do more human work in the subjective realm. Secondly, this is, I think, the key to controlling AI. AI can, you can try to emulate the subjective functions in an artificial intelligence system. You can try to simulate emotions, make choices and all that, but it's just a simulation, it's not the real thing.
Pero la simulación no es la realidad.
We can do that a lot better as humans, and we have to do it, because that's how we're going to control AI, by controlling the objective functions that dominate the objective work. So I think that's the way we're going to control the machines, by defining for instance, their values. We want their values to be race neutral. We don't want them to be racist. We don't want them to be biased in various ways. That's a
No
value.
queremos tener
We have to
una
define
inteligencia
those values for the
artificial
machine. We have to
racista
define the
y
purpose
que
they serve. For
discrimine a
instance,
nadie. Queremos algo
your
neutral.
GPS
Tenemos que
navigation
poder
system can do a great job
determinar
of driving your car
lo
where
que
you
se
want it to
puede
go. But you
hacer
have
de
to
la
tell it where
manera
you
más
want it to go.
neutral. Pero
That's the way
nosotros
we're
vamos
going
a
to
tener que
control the
decirle a la
machines.
inteligencia
And we're going to have
artificial
to
qué
monitor
camino
machines
vamos a tomar,
and
qué rumbo
intervene
vamos a
when they
tomar.
make
Tenemos que
mistakes.
monitorear
And that's going to be a
todo
lot of
e
very
ir
difficult work.
interviniendo cada vez
Then
que
finally,
hay
I want to make
problemas.
my last point.
Y por
That
último,
this
quisiera nada más decir
means,
que,
as I've said, we've entered an
como
age of
les decía,
consciousness right now. That's what my book, The All That Knowledge, is about.
importante.
And the Spanish version, Más allá del conocimiento.
Yo publiqué
It's
un libro
about
que se
an
llama
age of
Más allá del
consciousness. It's
conocimiento,
happening
que se
now.
refiere a la
And the book
naturaleza de la
lays out
conciencia.
what it means.
Y en
What
mi
it means,
libro
I think, is
explico
that
qué significa.
the world has
Lo
moved
que
beyond the
significa es
knowledge
que el
age.
mundo
We
ha
lived in
ido más
knowledge
allá
age
de
for
la
the
era
last
del
20 years.
conocimiento. Hemos
We've
vivido
left that
en la era
now.
del
We're operating
conocimiento durante
beyond
muchos años,
knowledge.
20 años,
And
pero
by
ahora vamos
definition,
más
everything
allá del
beyond knowledge is
conocimiento y
consciousness.
creo que
By
todo lo que
definition,
está más allá de
all these things
del
that we
conocimiento
talked
es la
about,
conciencia.
emotions, purpose,
Por definición,
values, beliefs.
los
And so we're
propósitos, las
living in that
emociones,
world now.
valores, creencias, todo eso es conciencia. Ya estamos
It's
viviendo
a
en ese
frontier.
mundo.
We don't understand it very well, just as we
Apenas
didn't
es un
understand the
mundo
knowledge
nuevo
age
para nosotros,
when
no
it started
entendemos
20 years ago. When
lo
I
que
was a
está
young
sucediendo en
professor
nuestro nuevo mundo, de
in
la
the
misma manera en que no
1970s,
entendíamos la
I
era
saw the
de
first
los
computers
conocimientos
coming
hace
out.
20 años.
And I
Yo
thought,
cuando vi las
I
primeras
think we're going to
computadoras hace
have
muchos
personal
años,
computers.
pensé,
And I would tell that to
vamos a
business
tener
people and students.
computadoras
And you know what their
personales.
reaction
Y se
typically
los
was? It
decía a
was,
los
why would
emprendedores,
anybody want
y
a
los
personal
emprendedores
computer?
siempre me decían,
They
pero ¿y
couldn't
alguien? ¿Por
imagine
qué
a
va a
personal
querer una
computer
persona una
because
computadora
computers
personal? O sea,
filled
no
rooms
se
at that time.
imaginaban para qué
It
se
was
iban a usar las
unbelievable.
computadoras
And yet
personales,
20
porque en
years
esa época
later, we
eran del
get it.
tamaño de todo un cuarto.
Year
Y sin embargo, a los
2000,
20 años
everybody
ya
had a
eran
personal computer.
muchos
People were
más
knowledge
pequeñas las
workers.
computadoras. Para el
Organizations
año
were
2000,
practicing
todo el
knowledge
mundo
management.
estaba
It
gestionando el
happened in the year
conocimiento a través de
2000,
sus
just as I
pequeñas computadoras.
forecasted.
Eso fue
That's what I
en el
do. I'm a
2000,
forecaster.
justo como yo
And the
pronostiqué,
same
porque eso es
thing
lo
is
que yo
happening
hago.
now with
Yo hago
consciousness.
pronósticos.
We
Y
just
lo
don't
mismo está
understand
sucediendo
it.
en el mundo de la conciencia.
But what
Nada
it
más que
means
no
is
lo
it's
entendemos.
the
Pero lo que
culmination
significa
of the
es
life
que
cycle of evolution.
la combinación del
Evolution has
ciclo de vida
progressed
de la
very
evolución
precisely from
es una en
agriculture
donde
to
la evolución
industry
ha pasado
to
de la
post-industrial
agricultura
service work to
a,
knowledge work and now
al,
consciousness.
del mundo
That's a
agrícola al
life
mundo
cycle. It
industrial
has a very
y es parte
precise
del ciclo
direction. It's
de
moving
vida.
towards
Y tiene un
consciousness,
sentido muy
towards,
exacto que
I will
va
call it what I
hacia
think
la
it really is,
conciencia,
spirit.
hacia lo que
It is
yo
all being
llamaría
driven
el
by
espíritu.
spirit. I will
Y todo
explain that in a
está
minute.
siendo impulsado por el
And so
espíritu.
we are at the end, the conclusion of
Entonces
that
estamos
life cycle.
en la
This
conclusión
is an
del
amazing
ciclo de
thing.
vida.
We are fortunate
Eso
to be
es
alive at a
impresionante y
time
tenemos mucha suerte
when
de estar
evolution is
viviendo en esta
reaching a
época en
climax.
donde la evolución
But it's a
está
very
llegando a
difficult
un clímax.
climax.
Pero es
It
un clímax muy
poses
difícil
enormous
y
challenges, what I
presenta
call the
enormes
crisis of
desafíos,
global
lo que
maturity.
yo llamo
But the
una
present
crisis de madurez
logic
global.
is not
Pero
going
la
to get us
lógica
there.
actual
The present logic of
hoy
self-interest,
día no nos va a
money, and
ayudar,
power. Those are
porque
the
solamente
present
estamos interesados en el
dominant values.
dinero y el poder. Esos son
Self-interest,
los
money, and power.
valores
Those
actuales. O sea,
values, that belief
el
system
interés
is not going to get
propio,
us
el
there.
dinero,
We need a different
y eso no nos
consciousness,
va a ayudar.
a global
Necesitamos tener una
consciousness,
conciencia distinta,
a
una
consciousness
conciencia
that sees the
global,
world
una
as an
conciencia que
interdependent
ve al
system.
mundo
We are
como
all
un sistema
connected together,
interdependiente, en donde
and that
todos
we have
estamos
to work together
interconectados y
in
que
order
tenemos
to
que trabajar de
survive
manera
this
conjunta
crisis of
para poder
maturity,
sobrevivir
to
esta
solve these
crisis de
enormous
madurez,
problems.
para resolver estos
There is no
enormes
choice.
problemas.
And
No
that's
hay
happening now, I think,
opción.
in a very
Y eso es algo que se
slight
está
way. But that's
viendo
the
hoy
great
en día.
challenge that we face
Pero
today
ese es
in
el
the
gran
world,
desafío al
developing
que
a
nos
global
enfrentamos ahorita,
consciousness that will solve these enormous challenges
porque estamos
and
enfrentándonos a
allow us to
grandes
create a
desafíos
sustainable
y
civilization,
tenemos
not a
que poder
utopia,
crear una
but a sustainable civilization
civilización sostenible,
that
no
can go
una
on.
utopía,
My
sino
TechAsk
una
company
civilización
forecasts this
sostenible.
kind of thing,
Nuestra
and using
empresa
what we
hace
call
ese tipo
collective
de
intelligence.
pronósticos
We
usando
gather all the
inteligencia
information
artificial
available on a
y vamos
topic
recabando
and
toda la información
organize it in a very
disponible y la
coherent way.
organizamos de
And we
una
give it
manera
to
muy
experts
coherente
and
y se
ask
la
them to
proporcionamos a
look
los
it over
expertos
and
y
give
les
us their
pedimos que lo
judgment.
analicen y que
And
nos den su
we aggregate their
criterio.
estimates. And the estimate we
Y
have
tomamos
for
en
global
cuenta
consciousness is 2030.
lo que hemos
Plus or minus
visto
about 5
es que
years.
para
I
el
think
año
that's a good
2030,
forecast.
más o menos 5
I think that's
años,
about the time that
las
the
cosas
world
habrán
will
cambiado. Y creo
shift
que
its thinking,
correcto ese
a
cálculo,
critical mass
porque creo que la
of
masa
humanity
crítica de la
we'll start
humanidad,
thinking in terms of
para
global
esos años
consciousness.
empezará
And then
a
we'll be
pensar
able
en
to
términos
start
de
working towards a
conciencia
solution
global
of
y ahí
this
ya
crisis
podemos
of
tratar de
maturity.
buscar
So
soluciones
that's, in a
a
nutshell,
nuestra crisis.
the heart of my
Breve,
message to you and the heart of
ese es el
trying
mensaje que les
to
quería dar
look beyond knowledge. I think it's
y que está en el
it's what
libro
we need
que
to think
acabo de
about today.
publicar
We
en
need a
español.
way to
Y es algo
see
que
our way
tenemos que
through this
analizar,
disaster.
tenemos que ver
People
cómo
are
podemos
very
salir
frightened.
adelante en medio de estos
There's
desastres,
a
porque la
great
gente está muy asustada.
pessimism.
Hay mucho
One
pesimismo.
survey of 10,000 people reported in
Se
New
hizo
York
una
Times
encuesta de
said
10,000
that
personas
50% of people think
y
humanity is doomed.
parece ser que 50% de la
56%.
población cree
That's how bad
que
it is.
la
And the
humanidad
solution is
va a
a
desaparecer.
different way of thinking,
Así
a
de
global
mal está el
consciousness.
punto de
I'm going to
vista de los
stop here.
humanos.
Thank you
Con
for your
eso
attention,
voy a
and
concluir
I
mis
hope
comentarios.
we can
Muchas
talk a little
gracias
bit.
por su atención y espero que podamos tener una conversación.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias al doctor Bill Halal. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias al doctor Bill Halal por habernos comentado. Vamos a pasar ahora. No puedo creerlo. Ok, a ver, vamos a pasar ahora a la parte de las preguntas y respuestas, que es sin duda una parte interesantísima de esta presentación. Solo quiero hacerles una petición que siempre la hacemos en nuestros eventos y nos basamos en ese comentario de Baltasar Gracián, que en 1700 y tantos dijo: lo breve cuando bueno, no, lo bueno cuando breve, doblemente bueno. Entonces esperamos preguntas doblemente buenas, esto es, breves. Si gustan hacer preguntas, por favor, adelante, preguntas aquí, preguntas en línea, nos las pasarán. Va el micrófono para usted, gracias.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much to the Italian Embassy for the invitation to this very interesting conference. And thank you so much, Mr. Faggin, for being here in Mexico. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm Daniela Zumpano. I'm psychologist and I'm counselor and communications manager for the Italian community here in Mexico. And as a psychologist, I really love learning about emotions, feelings, thoughts, and consciousness. That is something you have talked about as well. And I consider that it's very important and very interesting that you, as a person who has contributed so much to the development of technology, is also worrying about the good use of it, because unfortunately these days we have been forgetting about the main use of technology, that is to take it as a tool to help us to simplify our lives, not to turn our lives around technological devices and to live without purpose and without consciousness. So my question for you is, what is your main advice for future generations, but not just for the people that is going to dedicate their lives to technology, but also for common users like us? Thank you.
Sí, vamos a tomar tres preguntas, en series de tres preguntas, si hay alguna otra pregunta, y así el doctor Faggin tiene oportunidad de hacer una respuesta al respecto.
Hi, thank you, Doctor. My question is about quantum computing. If we are having this capability now with simple computer like classical computing. What about quantum computing? Because when quantum work is working with quantum computer, the information capabilities is going to grow up. So what about that? What we can expect of that?
Okay. Vamos con esas dos preguntas.
Quantum computers are capable of doing only what regular computers can do, but they do it much faster. In fact, they cannot do many things that classical computers can do. There are only few algorithms, quantum algorithms, for which you have an advantage using quantum computers. But in the context of the theory that I have expressed,
Pero en la
a
teoría que yo
quantum
les acabo de
computer,
explicar, las computadoras cuánticas,
while the quantum computer is operating,
cuando las
is
computadoras cuánticas
conscious, but is
están
not
operando,
self-conscious of what it's
consciente,
doing.
pero no
Okay,
autoconsciente
because
de
the
lo que está
quantum
haciendo.
computer, all
Porque
the
las computadoras
transformations are
cuánticas,
called unitary
todas las
transformations. They are
transformaciones son conocidas como transformaciones
that
unitarias, o sea, son
they are essentially
transformaciones que básicamente
deterministic,
son
meaning
determinísticas.
that just like a classical computer, there is a one-to-one transformation between the previous state and the following state. So it's just like a conventional computer. But there may be a feeling, but there is not a feeler. In other words, there is not self-consciousness in a quantum computer, and therefore it will not do anything. It cannot have the self-consciousness, which is what is needed to, in fact, direct your experience and being able to have free will. In fact, no one would run a computer with free will, because the free will should be the free will of the builder of the computer, and they want the computer to typically what the builder or the user of the computer wants, right?
La computadora tiene que hacer lo que el constructor de la computadora
in other
deseó
words,
o diseñó.
the field that we are
Es decir,
is
el
a
campo en el que
much
estamos
more sophisticated quantum system
está en
than
un
a
sistema mucho
quantum
más
computer can
sofisticado
be.
que
And that's the short answer, but it is
cuántica.
important to understand
Es
that
una
there
respuesta muy
can be
corta, pero es
consciousness
importante
without
entender que puede
self-consciousness,
haber
which is another
conciencia
important
sin
aspect of this theory. Because,
autoconciencia, que también es otro factor
because
muy
you would
importante,
think that
porque
that it could be
diría
just
que
one step, from
sería nada más
non-conscious
un
to
paso
self-conscious, but there is actually a possibility of a
desde la
consciousness
conciencia a
without
la
self-consciousness.
autoconciencia, pero no siempre es lo mismo.
Muchas gracias. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Acá atrás tenemos una. Y la otra pregunta, the other question, if you want to comment.
Yeah.
Hi.
Un minuto.
Oh, okay.
The other question. So, what can
la
you
otra
do
pregunta.
about
¿Qué podemos hacer
technology?
con la
Okay, that's a
tecnología?
a huge question.
Esa es una
I will
pregunta
say very quickly.
difícil de
The
contestar, pero
only thing that
rápidamente
we
lo que
can
les
do
diría es que
is
lo
to
único que
change
podemos
the
hacer
idea
es
where we
cambiar
are.
la
If you
idea de
think that
quiénes
you are a
somos.
machine,
Si tú crees que eres una máquina,
you will act as a machine,
vas a
and you
comportarte
will
como una
trust the
máquina.
machine that
Y
you
vas a
are
confiar
told that is better than you.
en la máquina que te dicen que es mejor que tú.
You have to go beyond the
Tenemos que
machine
ir
that you
más
are, that you
allá
think
de
you
las
are. That's the
máquinas que
only way that we
creemos
can
que
actually
somos.
deal
Esa es la
properly
única manera en que realmente podríamos
artificial intelligence.
manejar a
Because
la inteligencia
the artificial
artificial.
intelligence
Porque
is
la inteligencia
simply
artificial
copying,
simplemente está copiando,
mimicking what we do, but what we do
duplicando lo que
symbolically
hacemos,
without any feeling behind
pero
it. Without the
solamente
comprehension that we have
simbólicamente,
within ourselves.
no
The
con el
comprehension,
sentimiento
which is
ni
a
la comprensión
fundamental
que nosotros
property of
tenemos,
consciousness,
porque
is
recuerden que la
only what
comprensión
we
es
can,
una
it's only within
característica
ourselves.
fundamental de la conciencia que solamente tenemos
My
dentro de
comprehension then
nosotros.
can be expressed
comprensión puede ser
symbolically
expresada
to help you out.
simbólicamente
But if
para
you don't,
ayudarte,
you're not able to
pero
comprehend.
si ustedes
In
no
other words, you're
pueden
not closing your
comprenderlo,
comprehension
o sea, si
to
no
what I express, you will not be able to understand
usas
my
tu comprensión
symbols.
para lo que yo
You
estoy
see,
expresando,
so
no vas a entender mis
meaning
símbolos.
comes before symbols.
Es decir,
And
significado
people that do
viene
computers,
antes
they
que los
think that,
símbolos.
first
Y
of all,
las personas que
they think
trabajan
the
con
symbols don't have any
computadoras, en primer
meaning,
lugar piensan
and
que los
if
símbolos no
anything, that
tienen
meaning
significado,
comes after the
y si
symbols.
acaso ese
No,
significado viene
meaning is
después del
before
símbolo.
symbols,
Pero
just
no,
like consciousness
el
is
significado
before
es más
matter.
importante que
The
el símbolo, de la misma
symbolic
manera que
aspect
la
of
conciencia es más
reality
importante que la
is
materia.
what we call
La
matter.
realidad simbólica es lo que
In
nosotros
fact,
llamamos la
this
materia.
field
Y de hecho,
that is conscious
este campo que es consciente
creates states. The
crea
states in the
estados,
fields are
estados
like the
en
symbols
el
that we
campo
use. Just like an electron is a state of a field, it's not a particle. We think of it as a particle, but it's not a particle. It is a state of a field that cannot be separated from the field. Is an expression of the field. And so he can only express what the field knows and wants to express from the inside, but that we cannot know, just like we cannot know what quantum information. That quantum information is not knowable. We can only know it from the shareable expression, which is what we call matter. Matter is, this stuff, we always see the same thing. So objectivity is only in the space-time, the objects in space-time, the things that we measure, that's objectivity. But our experience is subjective. And subjective is the source of objectivity in this new way of looking at things. Science starts with objectivity and believes that we have to be objective to control the world. No way. It cannot be objective. If we were objective, we would not be conscious. Objective means deterministic. Deterministic means that there is no way to go from here, whatever, from this state, you go to that state, and the transformation is one-to-one, and there is absolutely no free will. There is no way that you can determine what you want to watch, look, and what you want to transform, the meaning that you have within yourself, you want to transform into symbols. The only way is through communications which are shareable and feelings which is within ourselves. That's the only way.
I'd like to offer my thoughts. I see this a little differently.
Okay, so people in the world, such as Elon Musk and 1,000 other people, and technology leaders, actually, maybe this includes also Apple co-founders and people like that, are saying that they're calling for a pause in the AI industry because it could be a danger for the world. So what would be your opinion on that if you're talking about self-consciousness cannot be implemented on AI, but they are saying it can be dangerous?
Just the fact that self-consciousness can be built in AI doesn't mean that you cannot build symbolic systems that can mimic what we do. And that's exactly what AI can do. But it can do that because we are teaching the machines to image ourselves properly. Those machines are not self-training. They tell you that they are self-training. No, they are partially self-training. You tell them, yes, no, don't do this, don't do that. Look over here, don't look over there. That's what we do when we train these systems. So those systems are constructions, and the reason why they are so good is because there is a correlation between the symbolic aspect that is expressed in our language and what we feel within ourselves. So there is a correlation, but that correlation is not sufficient to then give you the right answer. But if you believe that the machine is good, you will trust the machine instead of trusting what you feel. And this is the danger. We basically will move outside of ourselves, trusting only in the objective world. There is no objective world. The objective world is simply the aspect of the subjectivity that we decide to express. So you see, the only way is to be more, let me give an example. For example, when I use automatic translation, which is an AI system, automatic translation from Italian to English, for example, I use it because it helps me, but I use it, I'm good at it, only because I know both languages. If I didn't know English and I translated from Italian to English, the translation would be, every page would have 2 or 3 mistakes, and sometimes it would say the opposite of what I wanted to say. So how can I catch the machine that is saying something which is the opposite of what I wanted to say in Italian? Only because I know what the AI machine can do. So in other words, in order to use AI properly, we need to be better than the machines that we use. Otherwise, we won't be able to tell that the machine is giving you the wrong answer. And this is the problem with AI, is that we are told that AI is better than us, and so we should trust AI. We cannot trust AI. We have to trust ourselves, and we have to know what we do. We cannot give responsibility of our actions to an AI system. Those are the issues. And so AI must be regulated. And that's what Elon Musk and the other people are saying today. Hey guys, stop, think about it before you throw these systems out and people don't know how to use them properly. So, I don't believe that stopping everything is the right thing to do, but actually doing something about it is the right thing to do. And so, hopefully some the people in the government will wake up to the fact that they have to start thinking about how do we regulate AI in a way that is used properly, because AI can be an unbelievable, rich technology that can make, that can improve us in many ways. But if we use it to deceive, or to dominate us, or to make us click faster, on a computer, so that the people that get the benefit clicking, we have a problem, and that's really what Elon Musk and those people are saying today.
I'd like to respond, please. Could I comment, please? Hello? Can I comment?
Will give us a second. The ambassador will give us a few words.
No, yes, I mean, you just anticipated what I wanted to raise. The discussion about consciousness is fascinating, and probably today we can say, I mean, there is no way that artificial intelligence is going to get to the level that artificial intelligence is controlling human intelligence. Nevertheless, there is the danger that too quick, accelerated, fast innovation breakthroughs happen at a time when the reflection about the consequences and effects of these breakthroughs is not yet sufficiently developed. Just to go back on a more healthy level, ChatGPT is capable of doing functions that nowadays people with different kind of professional abilities does. Probably ChatGPT happened too fast even for the people who created it. But nowadays is there, and I'm not sure that Elon Musk and other entrepreneurs in the informatics are really worried about consequences for mankind. They are probably worried about their delay in developing other application of artificial intelligence. But it is a fact that, for instance, the Italian government, well, not the government, an independent authority within the government has created the use of the application because there is not enough a clear vision of what the effect of the application of the application might be on real people, on real jobs, on the real world. So there is a kind of the reflection upon the use of artificial intelligence is laying back with respect to innovation that goes faster than our understanding of the effects of the innovation.
Well, I think, for example, that prohibiting the use of ChatGPT,
Creo que prohibir el uso de ChatGPT,
you know, I think it's just getting the opposite effect, you know, just like kids. You say, don't touch it there, and so the kids touch, you know, while you don't look, right? So that is not going to work. I mean, you know, you cannot, we have to deal with AI. We cannot stop it because it will not stop it. People will continue to work on it. I mean, let's forget about this idea that stopping it is the way to do it, because you know, the government has to actually do the work to figure it out. What kind of laws are we going to pass? And it's actually relatively simple. You know, you have to say, look, you are responsible for using AI and the consequences of using AI. For example, you don't have to regulate. You cannot, you know, use this bit or that bit. Just make very clear rules that people then have to obey using their common sense and their capacity to understand. Otherwise, otherwise we simply delay the inevitable. So stopping things, I mean, you know, people that were trying to stop the mechanization of the weaving machines, right? I mean, you know, they have a name, I forgot the name, but you know, do they stop it? No. Because you know this is a movement that is, you know, happening in the planet, and you know, so you may stop it here, but it comes out there. So I don't think it can be stopped. It can only be dealt with, and sometimes it's, you know, the government has to take responsibility, being the regulators, to regulate. That's my view.
I agree with that. Can I speak now, please? Can I speak, please?
Yes, go ahead, Bill. Do you have a question or a brief comment?
I agree with that. I don't think you can stop AI. If you were to try and stop it, other people would do it surreptitiously, and it would be accomplished anyways. In fact, it'd be more dangerous because then it would be out of control. So I think that's exactly right. We're going to have to learn to live with it. AI is going to dominate our lives. It's going to
La inteligencia artificial
in your automobile,
es algo que
in your
tenemos que aprender a
smartphone,
manejar. Y
everywhere.
además está en todos lados.
We're going to have to learn how to live with artificial intelligence agents.
Aprender a vivir con
And that means we're going to have to learn how to control them, how to supervise them.
la inteligencia
For
artificial.
instance, those Boeing 757s that crashed about 2 years ago.
Un avión 757,
people aboard, 1,000
bueno,
people,
dos aviones
because they were
757
relying on the autopilot systems and they
se
couldn't
desploman porque habían
so we're going to need to have
dependido exclusivamente de sus
on
sistemas de
AI,
inteligencia
so you
artificial.
can control them. And I think there's one more point
Hay
that's
que poder
important to be
saber
made here.
controlarlos.
The reason we're going to make this easier is that if I'm right, when we're entering an age of consciousness, we are going to be a lot different than that. We are going to become more spiritual. And that means we're going to know that we're different from the machines.
Y tenemos que saber cómo usar la inteligencia artificial, porque sí va a ayudarnos a hacer grandes cambios. Gracias por permitirme ese comentario. No sé si hay más preguntas.
That I have to make. Are you an optimist that we will succeed?
¿Cree que vamos a tener éxito en nuestros esfuerzos?
Yeah. One short question. I was listening to an interview, political interview where ChatGPT was answering, and it definitely had a bias. It was very woke, very left-wing Californian. And so, as people use it more and more, and there'll be others who might not be Californian woke, but maybe Italian Meloni-like, I don't know. It seems that there is a great potential for it to be an indoctrination tool. Because if people take their information from ChatGPT or others that will come later, they will be completely submitted to one single way of interpreting facts, of citing facts, and of thinking And won't that completely destroy the diversity that exists in today's world? And the fact that we are all culturally, genetically different, and we have different points of view that are equally valid on different things. There is a unifying trend in these artificial intelligence that can probably destroy our, what do you think the danger, my question is, what do you think the danger would be of that? And then more pragmatically, what professions do you think will be destroyed by the advent of more and more intelligent artificial intelligence? I can think of a few which we would be very happy to see destroyed, such as Mexican judges, for example. You would perhaps take away the possibility of corruption. Maybe certain politicians, certainly not diplomats, of course, but so that's my question.
I'd like to respond to his first point. Could I respond to his first point?
Bill, please allow us to have an answer for a moment.
Por favor, tener una respuesta aquí.
So, yeah, those are all dangers that we have in front of us. And again, you know, how can you regulate that unless people self-regulate? You're not going to be able to tell people not use this way or use that way or what have you. You know, so the point is that we have to, each one of us has to be responsible in using AI. And you say, yeah, you know, and of course that's the problem. How can you be responsible, especially if you think that AI is better than you? But, for example, I use AI, for example, to translate from Italian to English and vice versa because it saves me time. And I couldn't do it, as I said before, if I didn't know both languages. So AI is actually much more limited than we are told that it is. It is a problem if you trust AI. So you have to have the judgment of saying, yeah, the essay that this ChatGPT did for me, I read it, I understand it, I correct some things, and then I make it mine. But that essay is not AI responsibility, it's my responsibility to then give it out and say, this is my thinking. You see, people are now trying to indoctrinate to use AI as an alter ego, as an other, you know, so you can give it to AI like you give, you know, a bag to be carried by a porter or something. No, you know, AI can help you think by giving you options, but it is you that have to make, you know, choose the right option. And those are the things. And so, you know, there has to be a way that we also teach people. And unfortunately, the people that give us AI, they want to use it the way they are presenting it because that's the way they make more money typically. And so that is a problem. But we have to go beyond that. And of course, you know, if there are laws that say, hey, you know, if you have used AI, you cannot, and you are responsible for it, the consequences of that, you have to take, you are responsible for that. And so you can be punished legally for that. And so, you know, what else can you do? You cannot stop it. I don't think you can.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Any other questions?
Por favor, acá atrás.
There's another question back here.
Gracias.
Thank you.
No sé si pueda plantear mi pregunta en español y traducir las
Adelante.
Gracias. Gracias. La frontera del conocimiento en física, voy a esperar a que tome el profesor los audífonos. Sí. Okay. La frontera del conocimiento en física se establece a través de la teoría de supercuerdas que, aunque no esté plenamente probada, hay 6 dimensiones físicas aparte de las 3 que podemos percibir. Una primera pregunta sería si esos qubits realmente se ubican en esas 6 dimensiones que no podemos percibir, pero que hoy día sabemos por el avance de la física que existen. Tendré una segunda pregunta para los dos profesores. Si utilizando la imagen del triángulo que presentó el profesor Jalal, podríamos pensar que hay una frontera fuerte que no se puede, que no es difusa, es completamente fuerte, que aquello que realizamos los seres humanos con la conciencia objetiva será lo que finalmente podrá ser sustituido a través de algoritmos y con computadoras, con inteligencia artificial. Pero aquella conciencia subjetiva, donde el mejor ejemplo que puso el profesor Faggin, que es que recibe el libre albedrío, nunca podría ser sustituido por la inteligencia artificial. Pero si extrapolamos que en los próximos años, conforme se vaya consolidando ese uso de la inteligencia artificial, aquellas sociedades donde haya un mejor uso de ambas, usando la primera se tendrá mayor producción material y usando la segunda en esa frontera que nos planteó el profesor Jalal, más allá del 2030, esas sociedades quizás tendrían más tiempo de que los individuos puedan dedicar, por ejemplo, a filosofar, a ejercer su libre albedrío, y si los comparamos con sociedades, pensemos en Francia, Italia, como el primer caso, me están pidiendo que termine con la pregunta, aquí voy a terminar, pero quisiera ver si pudieran abordar sobre las dos preguntas que alcancé a plantear. Gracias.
All right. So the questions about dimensions, the dimensions that you use for in quantum information, they're really abstract dimensions. There is no, it is a representation of a reality that for the time being, we have no idea what it is, other than it is telling us that that reality has an interiority, it can know itself from within. And that's the starting point for a new adventure of consciousness, of understanding the nature of that reality. So, this theory is the first one that can that is pointing the finger to where to start looking. So, how many dimensions are there? Clearly, if you want to describe a quantum state of a complex system, you may need gazillions of dimensions, but that the representation of an experience is not the experience. A theory of reality is not reality. If in a theory of reality we need, 200 dimensions, doesn't mean that reality has 200 dimensions. You see what I mean? Even the idea of what is space and what is time has to be actually revisited. In fact, most physicists are questioning, the top physicists are questioning what is space and what is time. How much of that is a construction of the brain or a representational system? So, so we are entering an era now where we have to begin to think in terms that we had never thought. And AI is kind of forcing us to hurry up. We got to, we got to do it now. We cannot wait and kind of, philosophize. We have to go fast. The next question, I forgot about it, but just 3 words, please. Just 3 words.
Si gusta repetir brevísimamente tu pregunta en 3 palabras, la segunda pregunta.
Si va a haber una frontera fuerte en que aquellas cuestiones que el ser humano realiza con conciencia objetiva serán las únicas que se podrán realizar con algoritmos, y todas las que están en la conciencia subjetiva de manera categórica no podrán ser nunca realizadas a través de inteligencia artificial.
Okay, it's more than 3 words, but
eso no fueron 3 palabras.
Consciousness is not, first of all, consciousness is not an algorithm. Comprehension of consciousness is not algorithmic. The free will is non-algorithmic. In fact, if free will was algorithmic, it would not be free will. And in fact, the quantum physics is saying that because the type of probability that is used in quantum physics is saying that the state that will manifest does not exist before it manifests. So the fact that quantum physics is telling already that the next state is most transformations, unless they are deterministic transformations, that quantum state does not exist before it manifests. So it is impossible to know. No algorithm can tell you what state will manifest. All you can know is the probability that the possible states will manifest, but not the one that will manifest. And that's where free will, enters into the picture, which is not in the picture of computers. It's not in the picture of classical physics. Classical physics, the probability of classical physics we are the ones that interpret something because we don't have all the information about it, and we give it a probability. But that probability is only a representation of our ignorance of something that already exists. Because in the classical system, the next state has probability 1 to occur. So if we knew all the information, we would know what the next state would be. So it is our subjective it is a subjective attribution to the system that we give it a probability. But that probability is not real, because in a deterministic system, every state is known before it happens, because they all have probability 1 of existing in reality. You see?
De existir. Yo quisiera ver si tenemos alguna otra pregunta antes de terminar y pedirle un comentario final al doctor Faggin. Una pregunta breve y concreta, por favor, como lo hemos pedido todos.
Sí. Dos temas. Uno, la UNTAD acaba de publicar un libro que analiza el ritmo en que se producen la investigación y el desarrollo. Solíamos pensar que la investigación era la madre del desarrollo, pero cada vez más nos damos cuenta que el desarrollo tecnológico va más rápido que la investigación. ¿Cómo lo sabemos? Pues porque hay más patentes que textos académicos. Tenderíamos a pensar que la investigación, que el desarrollo tecnológico se ha autonomizado de alguna manera de la investigación. Esa es una pregunta. Y la otra, con relación al tema de...
Vamos primero si quieres.
Ok.
So, repeat the question, please.
¿La puede repetir, por favor?
Is innovation moving faster than original
está avanzando
research?
Más rápidamente que la
innovation much, ¿cómo se llama? Breakthrough, ¿no? Something that breaks, more than original research?
La innovación está avanzando más
scientific
que
research?
la investigación científica. Sir, he was speaking to you in
so is innovation going faster and autonomous from original research?
Más rápidamente que la
Yeah,
investigación.
but I don't understand the question.
Es que no entiendo la pregunta.
What do you want?
We have more patents and academic papers.
Yeah.
Que tenemos más patentes que
innovation.
papeles o estudios académicos.
I mean, research
la
is
investigación
what allows you to make innovation. So I mean, it doesn't make sense to me to say that research was faster or slower than innovation. And development is really, development is the ability to then cast into a solution what research, meaning ideas, have been able to, have been created. So when you develop something new, you start with an idea, and those ideas are the ones that then will result into a computer, or they may result into a new physical theory, which is abstract, but it still starts with ideas. And so and that's what I would say research is about: ideas, creating new ideas and exploring new ideas. So it's the innovation and ideas that are intertwined, so they're not one before the other. They're two aspects of the same thing. That's why I had difficulty to put one before the other.
Déjame, permíteme ver si hay más preguntas. Severino, ¿alguna otra pregunta para el doctor Faggin? Ahí va el micrófono.
My son that studies law and is very interested in this subject, sends me his own question. How do you know that it's conscious or not?
Si uno es consciente o no.
You don't know. You can only know from inside. I cannot tell you that I'm conscious, and if I tell you I'm conscious, I cannot prove it. And if you tell me that you're conscious, I have to trust you. That's really a fact. And exactly, those are the properties of quantum information. You cannot know the state. Only the system in the state can know itself. So only the system can know itself by within itself. That's a property of consciousness. That's what it is. So a machine that tells you, I love you very much, doesn't mean anything, because if you know that that machine is a machine, meaning it's a classical system. But if a human being tells you that, it may lie, or it may be actually, expressing what it feels. So, and that's really the essence of consciousness. Consciousness is what makes us more than machines. And that's exactly the issue here. And consciousness cannot be imitated by any algorithm because it goes beyond algorithm. Consciousness is what creates the algorithms. Consciousness is what creates the mathematics that then we, put into algorithms. So it is this point that science doesn't want to see today because they think the consciousness is an epiphenomenon of the brain. It's something that happens in the brain, but but it has no causal power. Means that the brain decides for you and then it informs your consciousness, whatever that is, and you and it tells you that you actually have chosen that. So basically, science is telling us that consciousness is a big, deceit, right? Because, the brain is the one that runs the show, but then it tells consciousness that you actually made a decision. Good boy. But that's not the way it works. We are actually conscious and we make decisions. Most of the time, we actually, the decisions that we make are what the body wants us to do based as a mechanism, and we go along with it. We go along with it. But we can stop that. And that's where most of the time we don't, because we go along with what is the mechanism telling us. So consciousnness is the way that we can actually supervise the mechanism, which is our body. The body is a mechanism. So we have neural networks that operate exactly like the neural networks, not exactly, but very close to what the neural networks of the computers. But we can stop that. We can say, no, I would like to go over there, but no, that's not right. Because the ethics, the sense of who we are, the empathy, all those qualities, those values that are essential to a human being are the conscious aspects of who we are. And those are the ones that can say, to stop the mechanism, say, I do this instead of doing that. And that's really what, what makes us human. And if we don't do that, we're going to be little machines run by the people that have always tried to run us, which is exactly what has happened in the past. We've always been, since we were children, indoctrinated into one theory or another, or religion or another, and, to be able to be good kids, to do whatever the powerful want us to be. Okay? And it's time to wake up, not to go against anybody, but to really express who we are, express ourselves as human beings with values. And today, my concern is that before the concerns with the AI, is that the sense of values is decreasing dramatically. The kids that spend all their time with the iPhone, they don't even communicate with each other. What empathy can you have within yourself and a machine? The symbols that I'm giving you, they're not just my words, and the words are modulated. They're not text. They're words where I try to charge them with who I am. And the way my face and my grimaces, whatever, I'm conveying you a lot more And it's still classical information, by the way, but I'm conveying a hell of a lot more than I can convey with the, you know, with the text, you know, with a tweet. You know, and we're basically being indoctrinated to use these things, and we forget where we are. We don't look inside anymore, and that's a real problem. And, you know, so how do we solve AI? By using it properly, by recognizing who we are first. Because if we don't recognize who we are first, you know, we will be indoctrinated. You know, in 10 years we'll do exactly what, you know, the iPhone tells us to do. Well, there you go. So you will have a Chinese movement.
I will be original. But thank you very much. I think it was It was fascinating. I mean, for me,
ha sido fascinante, más para mí porque es la segunda vez que
listen to your messages and you know, the willingness is to go further and further and further develop the concepts. But I figure that we've taken over the time that was allotted to us. No, Ramon, you want to close? Thanking William.
Okay, we want to thank, of course, Dr. Faggin. It has been a learning experience. We were talking about you are not a university professor and you have teach us so much today. And thank you very much to Bill Halal. Pity that you were not here. Communication virtual always is more complicated. And thank you for our audience and of course to the Italian ambassador in Mexico, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Luigi Chiara, for all the support. We hope that the World Future Society and the Italian Embassy can continue to bring knowledge to the table and have deep discussions about key issues that we will have in the future. Thank you very much.
Temas muy importantes para nuestro futuro. Muchas gracias.
Don't go away. There is a
Por favor, no se vayan. Vamos a ofrecer ahorita un cóctel.
The conference. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Grazie mille.
Yeah.
Really a learning experience of all your points of view.